What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Verdependent podcast, where we depend on the Verde and Black for our everyday vibes. This episode is brought to you by AC Memento. AC Memento, your digital sports and concert scrapbook. Download Memento today by following the link in the show notes or on any of our social profile bios. This week, we kick off the MLS offseason with some free agency news and a reveal and react on which MLS vet we want to see join Austin FC. We recap the MLS Cup final and do our final leagues correspondence of the year and of these leagues before closing out the episode with the stoppage time rundown of the hottest Austin FC, MLS, and World Footy storylines of the past week. I'm Logan Bartlett.
What's up, everyone? This is Paul Fletes.
And we haven't recorded in a sec. So how's life been? What's been going down?
It's been good, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I haven't seen you in a bit. I know family and holiday season's getting ready and all that good stuff, but recently got a haircut. I was letting the curls kind of grow out a little bit, had to tame that, but beyond that, man, doing good. How about yourself?
I'm chilling, bro. Having a good old time, just vibing, working.
Yeah.
Holiday, the holiday sprint. So we out here.
Shop till you drop, baby.
It's something like that. Luckily, we're just doing stocking stuffers this year with family, so we gotta save that money. And we got to save some points here because we need preheated takes. So, Paul, start us off with a preheated take for this fine December evening.
Sure thing. Yeah, I'm going to keep it themed on the next away kit that we're due for in Austin FC land. And it's pretty simple, actually. My preheated take is that the 2026 Austin FC away kit is going to use white as its primary base color.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so back to the white, which we saw obviously with our inaugural away kit. When do you think we get the first mock of leak to mock up of what it'll look like?
I'm trying to remember when the EAFC leaks were rolled out. I want to say it was toward the end of December.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm not mistaken, someone might need to go and fact check us there. But I think if not late year or late December, probably early January is probably when we start to see some wild stuff thrown around. But I feel like it's been a while. We had the mint, we had the cream. I think it's time to get back to just old-fashioned white away, and let's have some fun with it. How about you, man? What you got?
Respect. I have that we will see green smoke before Christmas. And that would fit the theme. I think last year our first signing was Stephen Cleveland, which we'll get to that more. Or 2 years ago, our first signing was Stephen Cleveland, which was Christmas Eve. And so, there's a chance that we get some green smoke sooner than later. I was thinking it might be re-entry draft. Took a look at the list. We'll talk more about that. Maybe not. So I think we get at least one signing before a hint to a signing before Christmas as free agencies open, and we are expected to be pretty busy. So
yeah,
that's me. And on that point, let's transition into some Austin FC news, and then we'll do a little reveal and react segment about free agency. So the 2025 MLS season is officially over, signaling the start of the offseason. First on the schedule is the opening of free agency, which officially opened on December 10th, but in practice opened over the weekend as Bogart bombs began popping off left and right. The first move for the Verde and Black is in the books with the trade of Leagues Cup legend Stephen Cleveland, our backup goalkeeper. He has been traded to Sporting Kansas City in exchange for $50,000 in GAM. And reports say that he's already signed a new contract with with SKC and will be competing for the starting keeper spot. So cool. Shout out to the man. We'll talk more about that in general moving forward. This, though, opens up a senior roster spot and an opportunity for Damian Loss to make his first appearance with the first team. So what are your thoughts on this move? What do you have to say about Stephen Cleveland? What memories do you have of him? Tell us.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like a lot of my Stephen Cleveland experience has been distilled through the eyes of Logan Bartlett because of his supposed relation
Resemblance.
appearance
Yeah.
of Anakin Skywalker. So,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
It's
uh,
just us yelling, "You underestimate my power" at him in
constantly,
pregame
bro.
warm-ups.
Every time, every
Yeah.
time. But
We waved to him one time.
yeah, no, it's all good though. I mean, full respect to the man. I think he served the club well, and no one will ever forget his awesome PK stop against Pumas
Yep. Hello,
in the
Cleveland.
Leagues Cup. Hmm.
Hello, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit goes hard.
So yeah, that was good. And then also can't remember when he saved 7 of our shots when he was at Seattle before we got him. And
Yep.
so all the best to him. We do be scoring points on SKC. So if it's not Pulse Camp, sorry, brother, they're coming at you.
Yeah.
So
I hope Cleveland fights for that spot and gets some PT because I think he has the quality to be a decent keeper, starting keeper.
over John Pulskamp, absolutely, he
Yeah.
has the power to be their number one. Yeah,
I think he would be one of the few former Austin FC players that if he plays here in Austin next season in the SKC jersey, he will get cheers.
you think so? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it was like that, but
He's not going to get booed. And so
I
the only
guess.
thing people would do is myself and a few others would be like, hell yeah, dude. Hayden Christensen's back. Anakin Skywalker. You know,
Yeah,
he only has nothing but good memories. He didn't cause any drama. Um, his face didn't piss people off like Tarbell's did. He just got good vibes. So,
yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, thanks to the newly available senior roster spot that Cleveland was occupying, Austin now has a bit more flexibility going into the free agency. So we have 3 senior spots, 4 supplemental spots, and 1 U22 spot that can be used as one of those
Mhm.
to add reinforcements as we await the first sign of green smoke. We've been saying for months now that this club could do with more MLS veterans, a better MLS veteran presence in the locker room. So I want to open the conversation to a reveal and react MLS veteran we hope Austin will sign edition. Paul, go ahead and get us started with your ideal MLS vet and give us your rationale.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth here. It's funny that we were talking about Sporting Kansas City earlier with the move from Stephen Cleveland, but 2 names, both forwards, have come to mind. You can have your value pick, or you can have your slightly more expensive kind of max TAM player.
With
And
that, pick one for now. Just pick one, and then we'll go. So
I'll shut up, man. That's totally my bad. I'm going to go ahead and go with the more expensive option then in that
okay,
case, and we'll keep it to Eric Tommy,
okay,
who was a TAM player for SKC. And I understand that we are looking for perhaps a backup in terms of the absence that was left with Diego Rubio.
mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious to see what the club would be willing to negotiate with Tommy. Understand that he's out of contract now at SKC, but
Mm-hmm.
if he's looking to, maybe take a little bit less, I think he's approaching 32 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
But
correct.
someone with that profile, MLS vet, pretty sure he holds a green card, so wouldn't take an international spot.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him being a good fit, especially with the amount of competitions that we're going to be having in 26. Good rotational piece. I mean, he's done that for SKC
Yeah,
in terms of cup action and stuff like that. So
yeah.
someone that would contribute in the attack, but that's who I would look into for sure.
I like that. And I think he's somebody we've talked about before, maybe even last offseason as a potential option. That would be a
Mm-hmm.
good rotation and frequent starter.
Yeah.
Remind me, so does he play the attacking midfield or can he?
I think
Or
I've
is he more of
seen
a winger?
him. Yeah, I think I've seen him under Vermes utilized as kind of like a false 9 operating kind of in where that central 10 would play
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes like in the buildup. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's always usually when Sporting tend to like lead the line up. I mean, he's always there inside the box trying to make something happen. I know he was doing that quite a bit in their Leagues Cup runs the past 2 seasons, but yeah,
Yeah, I like that because I think it gives us some flexibility, right? Like you
for
can
sure.
play him effectively across the attack, at least in 2, maybe 3 positions if he can play both wings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of player we need, right? Those have been the guys that have thrived for us, the utility players who can play multiple positions, who can earn starts and all over the field. So I like that. I want
Yeah,
to hear your other one too, but I was a little worried you might take mine, so I wanted to like keep it to one just in case because I did not prepare a backup.
sounds good. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
okay, good. But I didn't. When you said SKC, I was like, are they both from SKC or is it one of
Hmm.
the?
Hmm.
Well, let's just wait. I want to go back to that because I want to hear what else you're thinking.
For sure.
So for me, we've talked about, or I've talked about my preferences of where we see signings. I think we need center backs. I think we need strikers and a 10, right? We need a guy that can play in the attacking midfield. I think
Hmm.
we need like the guy for the attacking midfield. So I'd be okay if we went internationally for that. But when I'm
Of
looking at
course.
MLS vet, I'm looking at a guy like Yuya Kubo, uh, the backup out in Cincinnati. He's a 31. He's been in MLS for I think 6 years, 6 or 7 years, all
Hmm.
with Cincinnati. Um, his breakout year was in 2024 when he started the majority of the games for the club. Had 10 goals, 2 assists. Only played a handful of games last year. Got a goal out of it. But he's somebody that I see as a striker, right? Because he played that striker spot a lot and he plays a lot. But I may have been mistaken because I was reading through an athletic article today, just today,
Hmm.
and they named, like the 10 names to look out for. And you saw some of the normal names. You saw Christian Espinoza and Benteke and all these expensive dudes that Austin probably can't afford,
Hmm.
um, Walker Zimmerman, etc. But then he had a list of like the best players at each position beyond that. And Yuya Kubo was listed as an attacking midfielder.
Hmm.
And I started thinking back to some of those games and the highlights, and I was like, oh yeah, he did play kind of like how we saw Diego Rubio slot into the 10 and be that, like you're saying, false nine, but also a shadow striker who can do both and trail in the box and be lethal. So I think he would be a really good value option for us where he's still age appropriate. He's not too old to contribute. He's 31. He's still playing solid minutes in MLS. He's been
Hmm.
around for 6 years, knows how a locker room works, knows how to be a professional, and can score some goals. And I think he would do really well as a spot striker next to Azuni for the
Okay.
first few months before Vasquez comes back. And then kind of that rotation piece is like backup striker, cup play striker, and also a creative 10, or at least just filling in that position and knowing how to find the guys that are running down the flanks like Bukhari and Owen Wolf and get the ball forward.
For
So I
sure.
think he'd be a good pickup, man. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I think I remember Kubo, if I'm not mistaken, when we played them 3 years ago, at Q2, and I think he was being utilized more as like an outside like midfielder, almost kind of like a like inverted fullback kind of situation, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't actually like pressing up into the attack, because I think that was back when they had BV9
Mm-hmm.
um, leading the line. And so I'm used to him playing less away from the front, and so that's why that name kind of strikes me off. But I guess I haven't paid attention to Cincy that much, seeing that he's been utilized more in the front third. But I'm curious to see, like, in terms of like wages and stuff like that, like just kind of like what that price would be for him, because like I think for his production, if I'm understanding correctly, like the past couple of seasons, I mean, he only what? Yeah, you said the one goal. He had 12 goals the season before that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess I'm not seeing enough productivity, to be honest, that I feel comfortable like really counting on him. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if maybe he just needs like a change of pace or something like that. But he does fit that kind of on the wrong side of 30, you know,
Yeah.
striker that we tend
Well,
to lean on.
part of my rationale with it, right? Like, so he does make a lot of money, or he did. He was up 800. He's a 10 level player.
Yeah,
But that was probably a leftover contract from a couple years back, a few years back when he
right.
maybe
Because
in
I think he
2024,
signed as a DP, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then
probably,
was
yeah.
bought down. Yeah.
If I had to
Okay.
guess based on just his pedigree, he came over from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and he was in Japan obviously before that.
Hmm.
Um, he's a solid enough player to contribute. Um, the profile of guy I'm looking at though is truly a veteran, right? It's like MLS vet who still has legs, but a
Yep.
guy that won't threaten Brandon Vasquez in any way. So you look
For
at a guy
sure.
like Benteke, who profile wise, he's one of the most prolific scorers of the last 3 years in MLS.
Yeah.
Um, cool. That'd be dope to have Benteke even into his year 36 season. But we
Right.
have Brandon Vasquez coming back in just a few months. And you want a guy that won't threaten his position at all and a guy that knows how to play across the front line. So Kubo is listed as a forward according to MLS, and
Hmm.
he's played all across the front line. According to Bogert, he's listed as an attacking midfielder. And yeah, I think you're right. He did play as kind of like the outside midfielder in a 4-4-2 kind of vibe, or
Hmm.
like 4-2-3-1 vibe when we saw him a few years back. Um, but all that to say, he's versatile. He can play across, and he can pick up scoring if he's given the opportunity.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think he would be a fun addition. Just add something new to the locker room as well. And there's not too many other guys I look at that could be affordable, assuming Kubo is willing to take a pretty hefty pay cut to stick around and get a decent contract and stay in America.
For
Um,
sure.
so I remember that 2024 season specifically when he was playing a bunch and his name was floating around often as a contributor.
For
And
sure. Yeah. 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 I like
um,
that.
to that point, we can keep it moving then. Well, let me hear you. What's your other one? I remember. What's the other name you were thinking?
Yeah. So the other name I was thinking was a value striker who some folks in Austin might be familiar with. He usually comes down for the holidays and has a little kickabout with Sonny Guardarama. But Kyrie Shelton,
Oh
actually,
yeah,
who was not getting the best run out over at SKC. And I feel like this would be a perfect, like senior minimum supplemental type situation where he kind of takes on a deal very similar to what was structured with Diego Rubio.
mm-hmm.
But I think his age, did I see it somewhere? I mean,
Yeah.
not
He turns 33 this summer.
exactly. So that would be the only thing, right? Where it does profile again, similar to these other strikers that we've been talking about on the wrong side of 30. Um, with a supplemental deal, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anything other than that, yeah,
He fits
probably
that
not.
supplemental spot very well. I think that's a good point. When
Yeah,
looking at a guy like Kubo, like he'd likely take a senior spot even with a pretty hefty pay cut.
for sure.
And so I think that's a guy like Kyrie Shelton could be a good spot player to
Hmm.
reprieve Uzuni in the early season and then fill a bench spot as needed.
For sure.
Um, although he was making a lot of money too last year, apparently 775K. Goddamn,
Who
these
was?
contracts, Shelton.
God.
Yeah,
Oh man, they were messing up over there.
true. Yeah, he hasn't had like crazy production in the last few years. Anyway,
No. Yeah.
but that's the kind of profile that you look at veteran wise. Like you could go back to Fagundes or another guy like that, but he's going to cost you more money and he's going to take up a spot in the field that we already have production at.
Yeah.
So your pickings are slimmer when you're looking kind of down the center channel, center back,
Hmm.
striker, cam, to pick up a veteran who's okay with sitting on the bench when Vasquez comes back.
Yep.
Um, our chance to nab one of these guys could come soon, right? Free agency's open. They're negotiating contracts. Here we go. But
Yep.
as far as next up on the docket, we have the reentry draft, which if the MLS sickos will remember, this is kind of like a weird middle purgatory of free agency where if you have a certain number of years service, like 4 years or so,
Hmm.
and you're above a certain age, you can be picked up kind of on a free, not necessarily on free, but just as like we'll take your contract and keep it rolling
Right. Or
vibe for
extend the
people.
bona fide offer. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's a lot of dudes whose options were declined or whose contracts ran out, who fit that eligibility. The list is not very nice. Pickings are slim here.
Yeah. It's never pretty, really.
Yeah, the Verde faithful will remember that December 2023, we signed Hader Obrian through this MLS function, of the reentry
Yeah.
draft. The big names that stick out, and some of these have an asterisk most likely, is former super draftee of ours, Nate Jones, um, Luca De La Torre, who was at San Diego most recently on a loan. So
Hmm.
little asterisks there. I don't
Yep.
know. He got to go back to his home club, but we'll see. And then Andreas Maxu, who's a center back. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was that DP center back over
that's
at
right.
Colorado. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Um, and so, other than that, it's a bunch of names you've never heard of, and we barely know. So, I'll ask you this very loaded question, Paul. Does this list inspire confidence that Austin will grab a meaningful contributor through the reentry process in 2025?
Uh, he said no with emphatic movements. No, no,
Parentheticals.
I don't think we'll grab anyone of meaningful contribution. Yes, the hot air thing where he turned around and became the club's leading scorer with 7, massive goals.
In 2024, yeah.
Yeah, that was just a off year for us. That is not something to necessarily be proud of.
Yeah.
But I'm going to look into this Luca de la Torre situation, though, because I understand that he is, I think, within 6 contracts of his original contract with Celta Vigo in La Liga
Mm-hmm.
expiring. And so I'm curious to see if we can go ahead and enter talks with him, because he
True.
might be
Through
a
this process,
very,
yeah.
very good midfield pickup. Obviously, those of y'all that were following along with the San Diego expansion team, he was
Mm-hmm.
part of that midfield that took them all the way to the Western Conference Final.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
If there's some loophole where it's clear, like we could essentially dibs him, so like we pick up the right to negotiate with him first, and
yeah,
we'll go from there and work with Celta Vigo, and then like it could work out that way. But
yeah,
that's one of the weird ones because like Sergio Busquets is on that list, but he's retiring, and we know that. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's some of the names may be
We'll
like,
take him on a supplemental, though. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, right.
That's a joke,
I mean, that'd be cool. Fuck it.
right?
So yeah, the reentry process starts tomorrow, Thursday, December 11th today, this Thursday, December 11th for the listener.
You got it.
And it picks up again on the 17th. The second round of reentry draft picks up next week on the 17th. And then the next day, December 18th, we rock straight to the 2026 MLS Super Draft, where we will see a new generation of college stars get their opportunity to live out their professional soccer dreams. Notable names taken in the past for Austin are, of course, Danny Pereira, CJ Fodry, and Riley Thomas, who are all still donning the Verde and Black. So, it's worked out for us in some ways, that top pick. But I'm curious, is there a position that you hope to see Austin prioritize in the draft this year? We're assuming here, but we'll probably have maybe like the 16th to 20th pick, that range, because we made the playoffs, but we were on the first group out, so it'll
Yeah.
be like in the mid-teens most likely based on reverse
Well,
standings.
yeah, I think it was just that reverse order of the shield standings, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we are 16th. But to your question, though, man, I just hope we prioritize someone. Boy, did we get spoiled in that inaugural year, man, because Danny
Mm-hmm.
P kind of
Mm-hmm.
set the bar for us there. But understand that is a the exception, not the norm. I think to have
Yeah, definitely.
someone like Danny picked in the draft. But that said, I don't think there's a position that I think the club is keen on supporting through this mechanism. To be honest with you, I think
Mm-hmm.
whoever we pick up is going to just be shekels for a move elsewhere or part of the development pipeline here in Austin.
Yeah.
So I don't really see, nor should we, right? I think this is just, planting seeds rather.
Yep. Yeah, I think realistically, we're likely out of the Generation Adidas range in the mid-teens. So like
Correct.
that highest value kind of pick is we won't get that.
Mm-hmm.
Every pick that we name, well, Fodry and Danny were both Generation Adidas players, so like it worked out for us contractually, and also they're just the highest talent.
Yep.
I think with where we're at in the draft order, the best thing we can prioritize is GAM. Pick up a dude, trade him off for 50K in GAM, and keep giving us a little flexibility on the fringes for a TAM level player that can
Yep.
make a difference. I think the core that we've built is in a win now scenario. And if
Mm-hmm.
the more spots you can keep open on a supplemental roster to pick up veterans like a Kyrie Shelton, those kinds of dudes who may be able to fill one of those spots, or more realistic, like a Diego Rubio contract, like we talked about.
Yeah.
the better. And so, we've seen a lot of the previous picks that we picked up and sent to Austin FC2 and played a year or two. They're gone already. We already have Danny, CJ, and Riley Thomas on the roster as former super drafty dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt we have room for any more in our first team roster, supplemental or not.
Yep.
But if we did take a dude and we were like, fuck it, we're taking somebody, get the biggest, poachiest striker possible. That's
Right.
what I'd like to see. Get the most like 6'4", stocky dude who just sits in the 6-yard box and rockets balls to the back of the net for some random school you never heard of.
Right. Yeah.
And
You just want your FIFA character
straight up,
brought to life.
just get that
Is
dude
what
out
I'm hearing.
there, see if he can cook for Austin FC2. And if we need a backup striker at some point throughout the season who's just going to go in and, put his head down and just kick the ball at the goal, cool. But I think Gam's our best bet.
I love it.
With that, we got a busy couple weeks for us in December, and then it slows down a bit. We get the holidays, the New Year. We'll likely see some green smoke throughout the free agency period over the holidays. We've always kind of seen that ahead of the New Year,
Mm-hmm.
and then the team comes back in January. So we'll revisit this in the New Year and look ahead to our kind of preseason schedule at that point and what we can expect to get us excited for next season. With
Yeah.
that, let's move to the MLS Cup final to really tie a bow on the 2025 MLS year.
Let's do it.
So Messi finally added the coveted MLS Cup to his trophy cabinet after Miami beat Vancouver 3-1 in their final game at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale before they'll move to Miami Freedom Park in Miami proper. Also announced today for us recording, MLS or the MLS MVP is Messi as well. He won Golden Boot. He won MLS Cup. They're going to give him MVP. I think he's the first back-to-back MVP in like over 25 years. I think it happened once in the 90s. And so that's cool and expected and not a surprise.
100%.
Well, moving forward, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets are both riding off into retirement as champions, and a new era of Inter Miami begins as the team retools around Messi, DePaul, and Allende, at least for now. There's rumors swirling.
Mm-hmm.
Is Messi winning good for the league, would you say? Is this a good thing for MLS that he's winning?
Yeah, I mean, I think the short answer is yes. I think there is nuance to be had there in this conversation if we have time for it. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I think all I see is that we are adding a new team to the quote unquote like kind of super team of MLS conversation, right? So it was always like the LAFC, always like getting the best stars outside of the US. And now it's, Inter Miami is solidifying their position in that conversation now. So I think
Vancouver too, right?
yeah. I mean, Vancouver's up there now, but what I am seeing it's good for is kind of elevating the status of like what MLS teams should aspire to be at in terms of roster construction.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, there are way too many other cases of a Montreal, of a Houston Dynamo, of a Chicago Fire, right?
Real Salt Lake.
Real Salt Lake, right? Where just the level of investment is not nearly as aspirational as, the likes of David Beckham and Jorge Mas. They were out there really trying to gun for this trophy, and it took them a few years, but they finally did it. You would maybe even include Austin in that other category now, where they showed small flashes with the signing of Driussi, with the signing of Mirtho Zuni and all that shit. But it's like we have to keep going, and we have to add to spots 6 through 14 basically on the roster to really like give the squad depth. And so in that case, it's good for MLS, but in others, I think it's just exposing, the reality of what this league is, which is, it's a buyer's league for sure. So got to buy in. I think
it's good for the obvious MLS perspective of the big investment won it all. Messi came in. It's going to bring eyes to the league. Messi winning is global news when he does anything. when he
Mm-hmm.
shits, when he breathes, So the fact that he won
Jeez.
the U.S. title and the U.S. MVP and making history in MLS, like that's good for the league. It'll probably increase viewership next year because can he repeat? They're going to push that narrative? Can Messi do it without his Barcelona friends? Like
Right.
there's so many narratives they can do. I think it's good for the league from a parity standpoint. It adds another team to that, decorated list of clubs that have won to add to that diversity of champion.
Yeah.
We're a league that rests some of our laurels on parity, and this
Mm-hmm.
adds to that. So
That is an ironic use of the parody theme there, given the way that they bought into that. But
it is
it's
ironic,
fair.
but like in history, I think it's 6 straight years with new champions or something like that.
Yeah. It's
Um,
definitely not a city pool situation, although it might soon become that.
it might soon become that. And I think to that point, Paul, you're kind of you're transitioning to my next final. Is it good for the league? I think what Beckham and Moss and Messi are doing to pull MLS to modernity when it comes to roster rules,
Mm-hmm.
this continues to push that narrative because I think they're going to dominate until Messi retires. They're going to keep being competitors. They're going to keep scoring 80 plus goals per season. They're going to keep, transcending to new heights, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They're going to keep bringing good talent, younger talent. People are going to keep wanting to play with Messi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, with all that, I think on one front, it pushes the league brass to say, okay, well, if we're we need to allow some more flexibility so Miami can be what they want to be, so LA FC and Galaxy can be what they want to be. Chicago, maybe New York Red Bull picks it up, right? So
Yep.
all these big markets can start to expand. And then on the flip side, it may finally motivate the bottom tier, the bottom third of owners to say, okay, we're just getting shit on every year and it's not even fun anymore, right? Like, can we get some more flexibility to make this competitive? Because we want to
Right.
compete. We can't compete with Miami as it is. So give us more flexibility and they can start pushing from the bottom as well to say, look, we need some more, options here when it comes to creating a competitive roster. So I think it'll be good for that as well. But that's
Yeah.
all hypothetical. You know, on the basic description of what it is, MLS brought in Messi, shifted everything for him, and he moved the world for Messi, and he won the championship. So that's
Yeah. He
good.
he paid that favor, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at Vancouver, I want to give them their flowers because I think they fought valiantly. That own goal in the 8th minute against Vancouver that gave Miami the lead. That was the
That was
only
rough.
action for about 70 minutes, or 60 minutes or so for
Yeah.
Miami. It was 1-0 going into the break. Miami, didn't look dominant at that point. And Vancouver ties it up in the 60th minute, and it's 1-1, and it's a fight. They're all of a sudden creating a number of close chances that could have turned the tide in their favor, right? Hitting both posts,
Mm-hmm.
peppering the goal. But obviously, it ended up how it did. But I think their core, right, of Mueller, Brian White, Blackman, Takaoka, and the crew that'll stick around, they all seem to be locked in and ready to run it back, right? So, do you think Vancouver has what it takes to make another deep run next season across competitions like they did this year? Will they stay a competitor?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind that Vancouver has been a team that has been building for this moment. And I feel like they have been doing it in a way that has been quiet in the background, that's been sustainable. It's kind of the antithesis of the Inter Miami project, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, you've been watching their ascendancy in the Western Conference for probably 2.5 seasons now at this point, really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Sorensen kind of adopted this fine running machine, and then kind of had his way with it in order to keep this team despite DP injury with Ryan Gauld, and then later on with
Mm-hmm.
Brian White. I mean, like they were able to really get the most out of all of those players
Yep.
over there, and so I think they're going to be set up for a good run. I think they've got a good core. And I think if they get their wits about them, they can easily go back and run it back. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think you nailed it spot on. And Vancouver being good is also good for the league because, like you said, it is kind of the antithesis of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They built something good that brought talent to Vancouver. Vancouver's also a dope international city. I get that,
Yeah.
but it's not the norm. It's not LA, New York, now Miami, etc.
Sure.
And so the fact that Vancouver built something, a core and a culture that brought a guy like Mueller to join, and
Mm-hmm.
opens the door to more guys like him to join. Um, that's just a good thing, And so I look at you. You mentioned on the front of this discussion, like Austin may be in that second tier, the bottom half, like the teams that can't bring that talent. I would argue that we kind of got that with Brandon Vasquez. I know he's not the same caliber of Mueller or Messi, but he was a U.S. men's national team regular. He was kind of like a guy that we were looking at. Is he the future of striker for the red, white, and blue?
Yep.
He transcended the MLS and then went to a Liga MX and did solid, and came back like a superstar, or he was pegged to be a superstar. The league wants him to be a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can do something similar for Austin. Unfortunately, injuries and Nico Estevez, but offensive tactics. But I think it'll work out in the long run. And he's a guy that I would say is in a very different but similar tier of like he's the kind of star you want to be able to attract to your city and to your club that like continues to build that foundation to build upon for the future to when you can get a Messi or Mueller or
Right.
Son or whoever. And Austin is still a desirable city, in the leagues of, it's one of the most sought after places to live in still.
Yep.
So
Well, and I think to add to that point of just each team kind of having that player or whatever, and for that market, I mean, I look at Messi as kind of that fire starter, right? For those of you that are going to go camping this winter, fire starters are an essential to those campfires. But like Messi is that campfire for Inter Miami because once that burns out, you've got the rest of the fire already set up, right? And Inter Miami should be able to continue that. I
yep.
just don't think other markets, and especially Austin specifically, right now in the state that we're speaking in, December 2025, our fire starter is not all that bright. Won't last that long, but
Which is fair.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
But I
wanted
think
to keep
being
going.
in year, coming into year 5, going out of year 5, right? Like I think we're in um, this is a good place to be as a club for Austin, right? Where you have a guy like Vasquez, you've had Driussi, who
Mhm.
set the league ablaze. Uzuni's still, jury's still out. He may put it all together next year and be one of those guys too. And so we have some potential. And I think 5 seasons in, going into our 6th, like it's a good, we're in good
It could be
company.
worse, is what you're saying. I think.
Yeah, it could be worse. So let's take a quick break. We'll jump into those leagues correspondence, talk about what's going on internationally, and then run through some stoppage. Yeah.
Let's do it.
And we're back. And we have our final leagues correspondence of 2025 and our final time covering the J League and Serie A together. Let's start in Italy. I'll kick us off. The Serie A season is well underway as Milan, led by Christian Pulisic's league-leading 7 goals, are atop the table, with Napoli, Inter, and Roma all biting at their heels. Bologna and Como round out the top 6, with many unsurprised at Como's rise under Cesc Fabregas. We talked about this a little bit, over the
Back in
summer.
the spring. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was people were hopeful for Como.
Mm-hmm.
The Coppa Italia, Italy's domestic cup, is approaching the quarterfinals, and league leaders Inter, Napoli, and Roma are still contending with the likes of Como, Lazio, and Juventus, and more yet to be decided as they finalize this round of 16 going into January.
Mm-hmm.
In Champions League play, Inter currently sits tied for second in the table and would advance directly to the round of 16. Atalanta currently sits in 10th, though that may change soon. I haven't looked at the standings since this afternoon's result, but we'll get there later.
Yeah.
On the lower end of the 5-way tie for 6th, and Napoli and Juventus sit at 20th and 22nd, respectively. They would make it to the playoff, but they would enter in the knockout round first. Needless to say, there is much footy to be played in Italy as we wrap up our final leagues correspondence for the league in the middle of a new campaign. TLDR, the usual suspects are doing what's expected out in Italy, and Christian Pulisic is still him, in case people forgot. So, that's Italy. I think that's a wrap on Serie A for us. We may
Yeah.
keep track of, the former Chelsea guys doing their thing here or there, but yeah, it's been fun to just watch one of the top 5 quote unquote leagues do their thing. So, Paul, take us to J League.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So over in J League, I think week 38 came to a close in December as Kashima Antlers hoisted the league title on the back of its 16 game unbeaten streak to end the season. They just barely outpaced Kashiwa Reysol, who, they did a good job to keep the fight as close to the end as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they owned a 12 game unbeaten streak to earn that second place spot. This is Kashiwa Antlers' 9th league title, extending the record for most titles in the league. Looking at the Emperor's Cup, we have Machida Zelvia, which won, very similar to the U.S. Open Cup, the
Mm-hmm.
Emperor's Cup here, in a victory over Vissel Kobe. And Sanfrecce took home the J League Cup in a victory over Kashiwa Reysol, who earned their second runner-up honor of the year. The 25 J League marked the final season using the spring-fall calendar, as Japanese soccer will make its transition to the global standard, very similar to what we're going to do in 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll begin in fall 26, which will be an interesting case study for MLS sickos as the league plans the own fall-spring calendar switch in fall of 27.
While this is the end of this rendition of League's Correspondence, Paul and I will be in the lab cooking up a new version for the 2026 season. We like this format. We like checking in other leagues and doing a little compare and contrast at times, just kind of seeing what the rest of the world is up to. We follow the Prem, we follow MLS diehards, but it's good to keep up with what else is happening in the world. We're weighing a couple new directions we could go to freshen up our international footy coverage. So stay tuned in the new year. We'll make some decisions. But I mean, right now, Paul, are there any teasers you want to give our listeners of what's planned or what we're kind of rattling around in our domes? Or should we keep it secret, keep it safe?
I don't know, man. I think I might just accidentally say something about maybe like, where are they now? Like, is that referring to Austin? Is that referring to Chelsea players? We could maybe talk about, a little bit of both perhaps, but would be interesting to see where some of Austin's former players have ended up and maybe follow
Keeping
along
up
for
with
their
what
ride.
they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd also be cool maybe sticking around with the J League a little longer, right? One,
Okay.
it's a fun league, but two, like we pointed out, that case study of,
Mm-hmm.
changing to a new format, to the fall spring calendar and updating that format. We're about to do that ourselves. Granted, if we did keep J League around, it'd be in the fall, right? Because they're about to go on a 7-month break.
Essentially, yeah, because
They
they're
don't
not
have
doing that little sprint.
they're not doing the mini
Season.
season, but I think they're going to keep their domestic competitions going. We'll talk about that more when everything's officially announced for 2026. But it could be fun to keep them around in another year and just see what that transition looks like as we, wrap up our final spring fall season and we look at that weird little mini season we got going on. We'll see. But we'd like to hear y'all's feedback on this.
Mm-hmm.
We spent the last 11, 12 months following a league that most never really see anything about in J League. It's the time zones are so crazy that you don't really get a chance to watch it, but it's electrifying. The play is really fun, high scoring, high octane games. The crowds are
Fun
great.
environments too. Yeah.
The environment's growing like week to week. It seems, as you follow the coverage, like new records are being broken for attendance every couple months. So, and then we also covered Serie A, right? A league that many of you may be fans of yourself, or you just follow because there's so many, U.S. men's national team players out there, or there's just been it's such a storied league, right? There's been greats for decades and decades and decades that people have been following. So let us know your thoughts. Let us know if there's a league you might want us to do or a route we might take on this. Do we do where are they now and follow Austin FC players, or a specific league with a few Austin FC players? Do you want to see us do more coverage of the Prem by and large? Do you want to see us talk about a league you've never heard of? We'll do whatever. Maybe it's a profile of league. We get players here in Austin, like a random Eastern Bloc Nations league. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
So let us know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on socials. Let us know in person when you see us. We got some time to figure this out. So that's League's Correspondence for the year. We'll be back, I guess, whenever we decide one of these leagues in January, February to talk about it again. So with that, let's get to some stoppage. And we'll start with Austin FC news. This is a little outdated now, but it's still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Austin FC has announced that they will be participating in the MLS Open Cup again in 2026 to fight for that title. One thing to note is Nashville will not be defending their title, as they will be participating in the CONCACAF Champions Cup thanks to their Open Cup win in 2025. Paul, what are your thoughts on this?
Love that we're back in the cup. I think we have our opportunity to get back to it. Sucks that we don't get to topple the current holder of that title, but
Yeah.
I think this is going to be one that I'm going to continue to eye on next season for sure.
Yeah, I'd like us to keep playing an Open Cup. I could care less about Leagues Cup. I like the history of Open Cup,
Mm-hmm.
and I blame Leagues Cup for the fact that Nashville isn't going to be here to defend their title. Because if Leagues Cup didn't exist, then they
Right.
could do CCC and Open Cup at the same time, and it wouldn't matter. But no, they're going to be playing in Leagues Cup and CCC, so they can't do Open Cup because it's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I blame Leagues Cup for that, and shout out the oldest soccer competition in the U.S. It's been a busy week for Austin's Academy. Paul, do you want to give us a little scoop on this?
Yeah, so I was looking on the club's website, and they actually offer a really handy academy recap for the days of December 5th through the 7th. And so, I mean, they had mentioned stuff about an Arbolito Cup, which was talking about their, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the U13s and U14s academy teams.
Okay.
And that's being held at St. David's Performance Center. And so it's Austin FC and 7 other MLS academies competing for this edition. I believe it's the 5th year, if I'm not mistaken. And then they mentioned something about a Vivero Cup, which is for the U12s. And so they had the U12s play a local team, Rayados Pflugerville, for this one. So it looks like from all levels of Austin FC Academy, they're in action well into the winter months, and so you love to see it. Hopefully, we see our little diamond in the rough there. Find our next little Lamine Yamal or Micah Burton to.
You may know this already, and you're just holding on a little smirk because you're waiting for me to say it. But something really cool and also really sad at the same time is, does Rayados Pflugerville ring a bell for U12s? Does
is that Riker's team?
So my little brother, who is 11, aka U12, he plays for Rayados Pflugerville, which is dope because in theory he could have probably played this game. But what is sad at the same time is he's dealing with an extended bout of Osgood Slaughters right now, or Slaughters, however you say that, which is the I'm growing too fast and my legs aren't keeping a pace in terms of muscles.
Yeah.
So his knees are really bothering him. So he's doing PT, and his coach and the doctor were like, okay, we're going to take 4 to 6 weeks off and then come back to playing. And I think this week right now that's current is his 4th week of PT. So he hasn't played all month. So that's really sad. I need to text my dad now because I was reading this while you were talking about it. This is all new to me. And I was like, hold up. I got a Rayados Pflugerville t-shirt in my closet.
Right.
My little brothers.
And I teach some Rayados Pflugerville kids, but granted, not U12s. I think it's like the U14s and U15s.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Riker might be in the U13s because he's been with Rayados for a couple years now. And
man.
While he is 11, he's bigger and just has been playing with them a long time. So they kind of bring people up to the level. So he might be with the U13s. I can't remember. But regardless, his pipeline that's dope. So shout out to Rayados Pflugerville.
And at the end of it all, man, I think it's really cool that there is always, around this time each year, thanks to Austin FC being here now, it's like you have those opportunities and those platforms for those teams to play each other and get good run out. So good on the club for expanding, the opportunity for the kiddos in the Central Texas area.
Yeah, it's badass. I'll report back on that next episode if my dad confirms. Like, oh yeah, that was them.
Do it, dude.
Moving back to MLS news here, longtime LAFC assistant coach Mark Dos Santos is officially named LAFC's manager, as Steve Cherundolo is moving back to Germany to bring his family close to his family. So this was already reported on during the playoffs a little bit, and it was officially announced just last week. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I think it's good for Steve, to go back to where he wants to go back to, and I think he had a really good impact on already a well-run machine,
Yep.
LAFC. Um, and it's going to be interesting to see Mark Dos Santos because obviously just coming from an assistant role, it's going to see how that transition from assistant to full time gaffers is going to be. But
Yeah.
hopefully, this is going to be an opportunity for us to, maybe make it 2 seasons in a row where we topple the black and gold in season play.
Hey, maybe. So I'd be interested to see the LAFC fan reaction to this signing, because I would venture to guess that, as opposed to maybe how Austin FC fans would feel if we got, say, a Davy Arnaud as our coach when Josh Wolf left,
Mm-hmm.
uh, would I have a feeling that fans are happy with this signing because LAFC has been good, and Mark Dos Santos has been on the bench for the last 4 seasons when they've been good. He
Right.
knows the culture, knows the team, knows how to put these players in positions of success. I would have a feeling that they're happy in this case with a promotion.
Right. It
Whereas,
feels like consistency in that sense. Yeah.
yeah, right, consistency of like high quality play and good performance. They've won a cup with him on the sideline, or an
Mm-hmm.
MLS Cup with him on the sideline, right? So, um, I would imagine they'd be happy with it. Whereas when you're not doing well, you're not winning games. You want somebody new. You want a new culture and a new identity, and not a guy that sat next to the dude you just fired. So interesting comparison there. Looking to women's footy, we had the San Diego Wave defeating Liga MX Femenil champs Tigres in a 3-0 victory in the final of the 7v7 World Sevens, earning a $2 million cash prize. I have remember seeing stuff about this, but I didn't realize that it was going on right now, and the report of it was just like, "Hey, FYI, this is really cool," and like validating for San Diego Wave after what ended up being a disappointing season when they had such high hopes. Like, they did it, and they
Yeah.
got 2 mil for it. So, what else do you have to share on that?
All I know is that they won 5 games of 5, which is really cool, scoring 14 goals.
Nice.
And I mean, the likes of they had Flamengo, they had Club America, Deportivo Cali, Toronto, Kansas City Current. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, some
Yeah,
good clubs,
high quality.
uh, going out there, but yeah, it was really cool. It feels very similar to that TST style
Mm-hmm.
sevens tournament, but yeah, 2 mil is not a bad purse to bag, and
No, not at
so
all. I hope that goes to the players, and I would imagine we'll see some reporting about that,
mhm,
whether it does or not.
yeah,
But yeah, that's dope to see, and it is validating, even though the season ended poorly for the club. The tough streak to end this regular season and an early
mhm.
loss in the playoffs, but 2 milli and some confidence going into the offseason
Yeah,
is good.
yeah.
So
They had DD Haricic, I think, getting a Golden Glove, and Gia Corley, I think, got breakout player
hey,
of the year. So
that's great.
things are looking good for the club heading into the off season.
I like it.
Yep.
Things are a lot looking as good right now for Chelsea, who return home to face Everton this weekend, aka the Kieran Dewsbury Hall revenge game.
Oh my God, it's gonna
After
be
a
hilarious.
3-game away winless skid for the club, and this includes today for the recordings loss in the UCL play versus Atalanta. So 3 games in a row away from home, no point or no wins. Do you think Chelsea can get it done at Stamford Bridge against KDH?
Look, man, it's neither here nor there. I just wish more clubs had the charity in their hearts the way that Chelsea FC has the charity in their hearts.
Tell
In
them,
the
bro.
month of December, bro, I mean, it is the season of giving, y'all. And your pathetic little club, all they want to do is take, bro. And all we do is give. Okay. So I don't want to
I
hear
love it.
this like, Chelsea are evil and all the money, blah, blah, blah. Bro, we're out here giving the things that matter. We're giving other teams an opportunity to climb up the table, and that is priceless. So,
Hey, I respect that. I respect that, bro. You're right. Season
Charity
giving.
FC, I'm here, up the charity.
Yep, up the charity. CFC till I die. And a little correction of my Serie A rundown with this win, and there are many results still to be had. So this will likely change again. But Atalanta sits at third in the table now, whereas they were fifth or 10th before. So this win jumps them to third. It drops Chelsea to 11th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all good. We're still into the next round. We got more games to be played. So
absolutely, bro.
And then, damn, I realized at the end of this stoppage was just sad, but the Texas Longhorns, they were left out of the college football playoff. I believe they finished 13th, just on the outside looking in. And so with that, they are set to face Michigan in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the fourth oldest bowl game in college football. Thoughts?
Yeah, man. Do you want to just like stop making a podcast and protest, bro? Or,
Nah, bro, we got to persist. If we stop, bro, they won. We can't let the playoff committee win like that. So
I know, bro. That was definitely a poke at Fighting Irish fans who I get it, bro, that they consulted the kids and the 18-year-olds that,
have decision-making
haven't fully
power.
developed their frontal cortex. But anyway, yeah, I think it's cool. I had a feeling that it wasn't going to be enough, beating a little bro like that at the end.
Yeah, we lost to Florida, bro.
You lose to Florida, bro, and you lose nasty to Georgia. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be good. Michigan's always a good fight, good contest, and at least my team's playing.
Yes,
at least
exactly.
Those guys are getting run out. They're getting that experience.
Yep. Anthony Hill's going to the draft. Shout out to him.
That one sucks a little bit.
Yeah, it hurts.
I mean, good for him, of course. We love to see it, but we also hate to see it because
I know CJ Baxter's hitting the transfer portal. Fuck,
bro, you are making me cry right now.
I know. Hey, but Cheez-Its and Citrus and UT are all orange, so that's cool.
Bro, this is our game for sure.
Yeah, if we lose, I'm out. I'm finding the bridge.
Right.
And with that, we appreciate y'all kicking it with us on this week's episode of the Verdependent podcast. I'm Logan Bartlett. You can find me online at LobarVHLM.
Stay alive, brother. You can find me online. I'm Paul Fletes. Find me at Paul Andrew FC, which is a government name.
Government name. His mama gave it to him, and he's keeping it forever. Keep the chatter going online by following at the Verdependent on socials. And if you can, consider leaving a review, liking, and subscribing wherever you get your podcast. Let us know what you want to see with League's Correspondence moving forward. Do you like it? Do you not? Either way, we're going to do it again. So tell us what you want to hear, because you're listening and we appreciate that. We want you to keep doing that. So, that's an episode, y'all. Peace. Oh, why are you screaming at me?
Oh my God.